What's up, Peeps? Nick Battle, aka NinosCorner, man. First off, if you like what you're listening to, go give me a 5-star review, 5-star comment. Greatly appreciate it, whether it's on Spotify, whether it's on, Google Play, Apple Podcasts, even the YouTube. So I got the videos, so viewerships and the listenerships are up. Thank you guys so much for listening. But today we're going to have a hot topic. We're going to talk about the policing of citizens in America. And what does that mean, guys? What does that mean? So we have a case that just happened in Salt Lake City, Utah, where a 13-year-old kid named Linden Cameron, who has autism, whose mother has, if I'm not mistaken, not been working lately, but had her first day of work, pretty much this past week. Her son has great separation anxiety. So when he is by himself or when his mom's at work, his autism really kicks in really bad. And so the mom comes home. The kid has autism, guys. So he ends up screaming and yelling and being, just very boisterous and loud. She calls the cops just so that they can subdue him, maybe take him to the hospital because of his autism. What happens? The cops come and they ask the mother to go outside. She goes outside, then she hears the cops screaming at her 13-year-old son. Her 13-year-old son to get on the ground, and then I guess he didn't get on the ground. He started running, and then shots are fired. Injured his intestines, just his stomach all the way around, the whole nine. The kid's in the hospital right now. Very sad story. Very sad story. So, this is right on the heels of what happened in Rochester, with the case of Daniel Prude, up in New York. And, just another incident where we had cases of mental health. And, cops are called to the scene for cases of mental health. They're called for domestic violence cases. They're called for a lot of things that they should probably have some kind of assistance with. Cops, I don't want to say this, guys. A lot of people are talking about defund the police. Do I believe in defunding the police? I wouldn't say I believe in defunding the police. I don't think I have, a way, either or. But what I do think needs to happen is that when you have instances like this of mental health issues, cops should have a trained mental health person with them to diffuse the situation at the lowest level possible. These guys they're like trained to kill. And you're having a 13-year-old child who has autism, has special needs. He probably doesn't understand the directions, probably doesn't understand or can comprehend, that situation, that incident at that moment. I have friends who have kids that have, autism and like severe cases of autism, and just the language barrier, their speaking, things of that nature, becomes very hard for the child. And so if you are not a person who is used to said child, then you could definitely, have a different impression when you arrive at a scene not knowing the kid's mental situation. So what should the cops have done in this? The cops need to have a trained professional who can deal with mental health with them when they have mental health calls. If that were the case, this kid, Linden Cameron, probably would not have been shot because a mental health expert would have known what to do. If that was the case, Daniel Prude in Rochester, New York, probably would not have been killed with a bag over his head because they would have known how to deal with mental health issues. The cops aren't trained for this. They're trained to center mass. We all know center mass and keep pumping the bullets out. That is what they're doing. That is what they've been trained to do, and that is what they are going to continue to do. So in cases like this with Linden Cameron, a mental health issue, cops should not be the people who are called there first. Or maybe they should be called, but they need to have a trained, licensed professional to deal with a mental health issue. We do this with every other job. I'm an engineer by trade. Do you think I would bring somebody who is not an engineer to a job to do engineering work on? No. Would I bring somebody who is a race car driver to fly a plane for me? No, I wouldn't do that. I would call on a person to assist who knows what they're doing. Mental health experts should be in the same room, the same car as police officers on mental health calls. And I think that this can be done, probably easily. I'm guaranteeing you mental health issue, like mental health experts will probably be more than willing to be on call. Where let's say it's 50 and, let's say it's 50 mental health experts in the city, and they have mental health, cases that get called in. Maybe there's 20 or 30 a month. And I guarantee you some mental health guys would say, hey, I'm going to take 2 days here. You take 2 days here. You take 2 days there, so that every 100 days, those 50 mental, health professionals are spending 2 days, every 100 days. So basically, let's just say 6 days a year being on call for mental health issues with the police department, with the fire department, with anybody that has any issues, so that we don't have incidents like this. That's just my 2 cents. Cops are not trained to be mental health experts. Therefore, they should not have the right to even try to diffuse that kind of situation, because the only thing that they're going to do is diffuse it with violence, and that is not the key with people who have mental issues. Now, one thing about cops that I got to get off my chest, it's like it's like they're scared, man, and I understand it. It is a very scary job. I'm in the military. I've been in some very scary situations when I've been deployed, but cops have to understand that you have to be one of the community. What happened, I think the problem with these cops now is that they don't grow up in the community and then become cops and become, officers who are brought back into that community. And they might have known that this Linden Cameron kid had autism. So they know that, the house on the corner has a kid who has autism. And so we need to treat that situation a little bit different. They don't know the neighborhoods. They don't know the residents. They don't know. They're not a resident of that community. And when you're not a resident of that community, you're a foreigner. And so the foreigner, you are going to, if I am a resident of that community and I don't know you and you're coming to possibly bring harm to me or arrest me, I am going to shoot you away from you, because your whole intent is to basically get me to jail. Right? Now, if you are a member of that community and you know the residents there, it is more of a respectful relationship, because everybody knows everybody. Like, I know your parents, I know your children, I know your mother, I know your wife, your husband, your dog, your cat, I know them all. Right? So, if a situation happens to where somebody has to be separated, or there's an altercation or a fight or something, if you can diffuse the situation at the lowest level possible, because you know the people in the situation at hand, it's the best possible thing for everybody. So that's one thing. Cops do not patrol the neighborhoods in which they reside in. That's issue 1 for me. Issue 2 is these cops, it's almost like they're so scared that I don't think some of these guys shouldn't even be police officers, because their first, hint of like action, they want to pull a gun and shoot somebody. They want to pull a gun and tell somebody to get on the ground. A little compassion goes a long way, man. A little compassion goes a long way. You can rule with an iron fist, and maybe it's the courage on them. They got the used to say liquid courage when you drink, but they have a gun on them, right? So they got the iron courage, right? They got that gun on their side. They got that pistol by their side. So that, like, they're a little bit courageous at that moment. So it's almost like some of these cops are the kids who weren't popular in school, who are trying to get back at everybody for not, being that guy. Some of these guys probably got picked on, and so now nobody's going to pick them anymore to the big bad police officers. I'm not saying this. I'm just generalizing that some of these situations come off like that, where the first thing you do is pull a weapon. It's because you don't know how to defend yourself. And then cops also, please, if you're going to be a police officer, please know how to defend yourself with your fisticuffs, or be able to tackle somebody. Like for these guys to shoot a 13-year-old child. Like, really? You couldn't tackle him? He's 13. He's 13. Like, how can you not get this kid on the ground without shooting him? Yeah. It's craziness, guys. Also, with the Jacob Blake case. I know I don't like to bring it up too much because I don't know all the facts on this one. For the most part, we've all seen the video, and it's horrific. And there's a lot of different things that could have went down in there. Now, I guess one rumor was that that 3 cops had him on the ground. He got out of the grass with 3 cops. If that were true, why are you a police officer if 3 people can't contain 1 person? Why are you a police officer if you can't contain a person? And it's 3 of you guys. It makes absolutely no sense to me. Police officers, if you're going to be a police officer, make me feel safe. Not by pulling a pistol. Make me feel safe by knowing that you're going to get somebody on the ground and be able to get them on the ground and put them in handcuffs. I know that you're trying to get back to your family, but these people are also trying to get back to their families too. So you don't have to always draw a gun on somebody. Get somebody to the ground. Keep them on the ground. If 3 cops can't keep somebody on the ground, you don't need to be police officers. I'm sorry. You don't. Okay? And I think a lot of these police officers, man, like I already said to you guys, I think they are afraid, as they should be. I'm not taking nothing against anybody from being afraid in today's society. Got a lot of things that are going on, guys. The gun rates are crazy. I'm from Louisiana, and there's a song by I forgot the guy's name. He's from New Orleans, and he said a PlayStation costs more than a chopper. Which, if anybody knows what that means, a PlayStation, of course, is the game console that we all play on, right? PlayStation, Xbox. Costs more than a chopper, and a chopper is a street name for AK-47 where I'm from. And it's God honest truth. You can get an AK-47 on the streets for less than it costs to get a PlayStation in a store. So that's one of the problems. I mean, the guns are rampant. I mean, you can get them anywhere. And it's sad. It's sad, but it's true. And so with a lot of guns in the streets, I can understand why the cops are afraid. But the training needs to be, I think, upheld to just a greater standard. Some of these guys are not the best guys when it comes to being in shape. The guys and the females, they're not the best in shape. I've seen cops pull over. I'm like, you're really a cop? Like, you're not in shape. Like, it's almost like the military. I expect my military guys to look a certain way. Like, you're a military guy, right? I want to understand that when you go overseas that you're going to protect me. And some of these guys, like, a poodle can snap their ankle and they're going to be gone tomorrow. But the cops are like the same way. I want my cops to be in shape, man, because if that were the incident or the instance where 3 cops are trying to hold down 1 guy and they can't hold him down, that's a pity on the cops, to be honest with you. But on that note, guys, Linden Cameron, say his name, Miss Breonna Taylor, say her name also. I mean, we got so many people's names that we are constantly having to say their names because of the wrongdoings of what some of these police officers are doing. And not all cops are bad, guys. Don't take this the wrong way. Don't let the 1 to 5% or the 10% of bad cops be a bad name for all cops, because that is not the case. There are some bad apples everywhere. Like, there's bad apples in every race. There's bad apples in everything. There's bad apples everywhere. But don't let those bad apples define everybody. With the protesters. We're not gonna get political here, but with the protesters, a lot of people were saying that they're a bunch of rioters, a bunch of thugs. Don't let the ones who are doing the robbing and the looting take away from the ones who are there for the real reason. Just like we shouldn't let the incidents of a few bad cops determine the fate of all cops. I like my police officers. I want you to be great, because when you're great, we're safe. But we got to do it together, in harmony, in unison. We got to do it together. Cops need to know the community that they're patrolling. They need to know, the people who they're protecting, the people who are paying their salaries. They need to take the time to know those folks, because I guarantee you, once you start knowing people and you know their names and they know you and they know that you're not gonna cause any harm, they're gonna police that neighborhood for you. They are. They are definitely going to do that. They're going to police that neighborhood for you. Your job's going to be a lot easier if you're well liked and well respected in the community that you are protecting. So, you guys know the NinosCorner podcast is like the barbershop of podcast. So we've gotten to, onto the Linden Cameron case, and let's hope this guy pulls through. Not this guy, this 13-year-old kid pulls through. Yeah, I pray for his family, pray for his mother, and just his family all together that he pulls through, because that was a senseless shooting. So let's turn the tide to a little bit more joyful subject. We're going to talk about a little sports now. We're going to talk about the Lakers in Houston. They played they played Tuesday night. All right, it's currently Thursday morning, right? So they played Tuesday night. The Lakers, man, did LeBron have a game or what? LeBron killed it, man. Like, he just broke some records. Most playoff wins of all time for a player. Did it in I don't know, what's this, year 17 for him? No, it's not even year 17, is it? How old is LeBron? 35? Kenny is 18? Yeah, something like that. Year 17. But he did it. He only had 14 playoff seasons. That's what it was. He didn't play in the playoffs in 3 seasons. But in 14 playoff seasons, he's broken the record for most career playoff wins. Tim Duncan was one of the folks that he passed up earlier this year. Tim Duncan played 18 seasons in the playoffs. Derek Fisher had the record that James beat last night, 16 seasons. So what this guy's doing, guys, we're seeing history in the making. You better love it. You better respect it. The boy is that dude. I love watching LeBron on the court. I love watching him off the court too. I think he is the model, citizen for what an athlete should be. But the Lakers versus Houston, guys, this is a really good series. I thought Houston was trying to creep and get that game last night, but if I had money in the game last night, it was definitely going to be the Lakers. I did not see them going down 1-2. They're just too strong. I like the Lakers 2 stars better than I like Houston's 2 stars. I would take LeBron and Anthony Davis over Russell and James Harden any day of the week. James Harden, even though he is one of the greatest shooters that we've ever seen in this league, one of the greatest one-on-one players we've ever seen in this league. But the thing about Houston is when they start those shots, guys, they're either falling or not. And I think what killed them last night was PJ Tucker didn't hit any shots last night. Right? I mean, he had one shot. I think he had 3 points last night. So one shot from the corner. And when he's not shooting from the corner, his offense isn't there. Now, Eric Gordon also, I think, only had 7 points. I think between PJ and Eric Gordon, there was only 10 points scored with those guys last night, and that killed them because Rondo had 19 points off the bench, or 21 points off the bench, who also had 1,000 assists. So he got 1,000 assists last night for his playoff career. I think moving him to number 11 or number 12 on the list. So so shout out to Rondo, who had a great game. Not known to be a shooter, but he shot the ball well from the 3 last night, 3 for 5 from the 3-point line, which is amazing. Which he is not known to be a 3-point shooter. I do not like to see Rondo shoot threes. Matter of fact, I think I put on Twitter today during Game 2, when the Lakers won Game 2, that if Rondo's going to shoot threes, get him out the game. I guess not if he's like Game 3, then keep him in. But I think the change in that game was not only did the Lakers bench outscore the Rockets bench, the Lakers supporting players that are also starters. Rondo's off the bench. That's a whole different situation. But Eric Gordon and PJ Tucker, both start for the Rockets, and they didn't have nearly good games like they should. The starting supporting cast for the Lakers they had a pretty good run. I think KCP had a pretty good game, especially defensive wise. Danny Green had another good game when it comes to the defense. He could have shot a little bit better. He missed a couple wide open shots, but the Lakers bench was amazing. I think they had 42 points off the bench. 21 by Rondo, a certain amount by Kuzma, and Caruso continuously just amazes me every game. I like watching that kid play. I mean, he has hops. His defense is pretty good. He's tough. So what the Lakers ended up doing though in that game was when they double teamed Harden. They got him in the fourth quarter. They double teamed him, got the ball out of his hands, and basically said Russell Westbrook beat us. Russell couldn't do it. He's not a good deep ball shooter. What Russell needs to do, guys, is just keep driving and putting his head down and going to the hole. And I think he kind of depends on his mid-range jumper a little too much. It's the same knock that I have on LeBron James too. If if we're being honest. He's so strong and powerful. He can go to the hole anytime he wants. But I think he sometimes takes some plays off to get his energy. But he'll take a fadeaway here or start shooting threes. And when the 3-point ball starts to feel good to him, he starts to shoot it a little bit more. And to his credit, he hits the shots. But I just think he's a much better player when he's head down going to the hole. But good series so far. I think the Lakers are going to take this in 5. I think they're going to win the next 2 games. I think Frank Vogel is going to definitely readjust. I don't think McGee is going to start anymore in this series. I think they're going to go with a little bit smaller lineup. But then again, they might just keep him in the lineup because let him have his 6-7 minutes and keep the rotation going. Just keep the rotation going. Keep Kyle Kuzma off the bench. Keep Rondo off the bench. Just make sure that those guys are fresh and ready off the bench for that second unit. But what a game. What a game last night. Another game, we saw the Greek Freak lose. He didn't play, but the Bucks lost last night to the Miami Heat in a gentleman's sweep. Now it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen to the Greek Freak guys. Where's it going to go? Is it going to stay in the Bucks or what? We shall see. But enough about basketball. Let's talk about the big thing. What's coming up tonight? Kansas City Chiefs versus Houston Texans. Football. The 2 highest paid quarterbacks are going to face off. Watson versus defending Super Bowl MVP and champion. Pat Mahomes. Why can't I think of Pat Mahomes' name? I'm a Big 12 guy too, guys. I couldn't think of his name. But Pat Mahomes has the potential to be the greatest quarterback to ever play this game, guys. If he just stays healthy. I mean, he's special to watch, and I can't wait to watch them tomorrow. I'm really looking to see what their new running back that they got from LSU, Clyde Edwards-Helaire Edwards. I can never say his name right. With the little short, stout running back from LSU, a beast. The rich get richer. He fits that team just perfect. So it's going to be very interesting to see the game tomorrow night. I cannot wait to see football, guys. And then, we're going to backdoor it on Saturday with college football on Saturday. And then some more NFL on Sunday, man. It's going to be a great week, man. So next week, what I'm going to do for you guys, next Tuesday, I am going to do my normal football stats, and it's going to be great. I cannot wait to record and get back to my stats for football. I always do the Horns Corner section of Nino's Corner where I do the sports, basically the game analytics and stats and data and stuff for the Texas football game. So the Texas versus UTEP game I'm going to do. I might even do an extra game for college. And then I'm going to do my weekly results, guys, for football. And so I think I'm going to start with week 1, and then I'm going to do every 4th game. So I do like week 4, then week 8, week 12, and week 16, because it was getting very tedious and like the numbers weren't, separating as best as they should, because it's just such a minute, schedule. So definitely, guys, thank you guys for joining in, man. Like I always tell you guys, man, don't be afraid to fail, outgrow your environment, understand your brilliance, man. And love you guys, man. Salute to you guys. Football's tomorrow, man. I can't wait for the next podcast. You might get an extra podcast from me just on the strength. But anyways, guys, we're out. Nino's Corner. I'm out. It's good to see you. Peace.